Welcome back to Colosseum. Last time we, well, actually competed in a Colosseum challenge for once. And this time we're heading out to claim our reward. Which is supposed to be getting a Shadow Pokemon of our own, but we already have enough of those. No, we're gonna pretend to be someone interested in the Shadow Pokemon in order to infiltrate Miror B's secret facility. Gorgeous gift, that... Well, I mean, that does sound pretty much how he'd describe it. So obviously it's this building with the locked door from before. Why nobody thought to check here, I have no idea. Hey, that file on the table is suspiciously sparkling. That probably means something. Yeah, say that out loud. That's gonna help you. Definitely. Unfortunately, they know what we look like, so our infiltration attempt has already failed. So it's battle time. But this is why I said that you want to make sure that you save before this, because Cypher P or Nor, not sure we're aware that this, actually I think they were called Cypher earlier, but I don't think the main character knows they're called Cypher at this point. But anyway, this guy battles you immediately upon talking to him on the bridge. And, as we see here, he has a Shadow Yanma. Now, Yanma is a very, very frail Pokemon. I know that in my first... why did I use Confusion? I'm an idiot. Oh, I used Return, wait. Okay, I'm not an idiot. But still, even Return is going to hurt quite a bit. Anyway, so, Yanma is a very frail Pokemon. I know that in my first playthrough, I failed to catch Yanma. And you don't get another opportunity until the post-game, so you definitely want to make sure you save before this. Ah, dang it. Okay, that is annoying. Yeah, Uproar blocks sleep while it's active. It's a very strange move. It doesn't have a lot of power, and I think you're forced to use it for several turns after it starts, but while it's active, no Pokemon on the field can fall asleep. I thought I might as well have chucked a Pokeball just to see if I can get this, so let's see if I can. One, two, nope! Yeah, I had a feeling. Probably gonna need to weaken it a little bit more. It is annoying that it just made itself immune to sleep, though. This is where Flaffy would have come in handy. If I purified Flaffy enough to have Thunder Wave, I could Thunder Wave this thing, and Uproar wouldn't block that. Uproar is also physical in this generation. Its animation is also kind of weird, because it doesn't... Like, the Pokemon getting hit by Uproar doesn't show their flinching animation, so it looks kind of weird when you get a crit from it like that, and you just see the health bar decreasing with no flinching whatsoever. I've probably said it already, but this music is still pretty cool. And, what am I doing here? I guess I'm switching out in preparation for the Uproar ending. The game will inform me when Uproar ends. But, let's try another Pokeball, even though Pokeballs have not really been my friend in this game. 1, 2, 3... Yanma gets! Okay, that's a relief. Hey look, another member of the mediocre Gen 2 Pokemon that got much needed evolutions in Gen 4 Club. Yanma is a perfect example of a good concept that just doesn't have the raw stats to make use of it. It kinda tries to be a fast mixed sweeper, but when your best attacking stat is only base 75, that's a problem. It also doesn't help that Yanma's move pool is fairly bad at this point in the series. All of the moves it has access to upon getting slowly purified, like Sonic Boom, Supersonic, and Uproar, all of them are pretty bad moves. Detect is okay and synergizes well with one of its abilities, but when your only good move is that, that's not a good sign. What also doesn't help is that both of Yanma's types are physical in this generation, so if it wants to use same type attack bonus, it has to make use of its weaker attacking stat. And even there, it doesn't have many good options. Wing Attack is your only flying same type attack bonus, and for Bug, you have to breed, which this Yanma obviously doesn't have access to. It does get some pretty cool TM moves though, Psychic and especially Giga Drain, which is great because it hits the rock types that would otherwise be a huge threat to it. Both of Yanma's abilities are also fantastic. Speed Boost raises your speed every turn you're in play. That works very well with Detect, which will guarantee you get at least one speed boost. And Compound Eyes raises the accuracy of all moves by 30%, making Supersonic actually somewhat reliable. Unfortunately, like I said, despite all of these cool options, Yanma just does not have the raw stats to pull them off. I really wish this was Gen 4, because I'd love to use a Yanmega in this game, but sadly, that is not an option here. Let's just say this wasn't my first attempt at this battle, and he replaces it with a Ninkata. Back when I was younger, we used to get a lot of cicadas around the place where I live. Collecting cicada shells was a hobby that a lot of kids had back then. But anyway, okay, that's Bide. Bide is annoying. So while Bide's active, any damage that the Pokemon takes is stored up, and if they're still conscious by the time Bide is released, they do double the damage they took back to, I'm actually not sure how it works in Tele Battles. It's probably the last Pokemon that hit them that gets targeted, because you don't select a target for Bide, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, the main way I like to deal with Bide is just to not attack the Pokemon at all. In single battles, that involves just spamming status moves. In double battles, that involves just not attacking the Pokemon outright. Because yeah, if it's taken 0 damage, it'll be countering back 0 damage. Let's just use a status move on Pineco. Bide often tends to be the bane of people doing Nuzlocke runs. I know this isn't a Nuzlocke run, but Bide can hit very, very hard, especially in Black and White, where Patrat, which is a very, very common early game Pokemon, pretty much always has Bide. Although I still think it's weird how Bide, of all things, was Brock's TM in Generation 1. I don't think there are any Rock-type TMs at all in that gen. Of course, if this Pineco is asleep, then it's not going to be able to unleash its energy either. Now, I think Sleep just completely knocks you out of Bide status entirely. I forget exactly how it works. Bide is not a move you see used very often in serious battles, because you're pretty much better off using Counter or Mirror Coat. But anyway, since the thing is asleep, let's try and take it out. It'd be kind of funny if I one-shotted it and ignored Bide entirely. Well, I didn't quite, but this should finish it off. Anyway, it's always good to be wary of Bide, because that move tends to one-shot you if you're not prepared for it. Pineco's another Pokemon that's connected to my childhood, because, yeah, a lot of kids at that time collected Pinecones, too. Yeah, well, I mean, that's more due to all the trainers in the tournament being pathetic, but you were, I guess, somewhat pathetic, too. That Yanma is actually a surprisingly difficult snag. And they run away. And thankfully we have more people with us. No, we can pretty much handle ourselves. But we've found some evidence that these people are giving away the Shadow Pokemon. Yeah, it's not a good thing if random people have their hands on crazy Pokemon that attack humans. And yeah, so her father's Pokemon was taken hostage by the villains, which is why he hasn't done anything, although that was pretty much implied earlier, and it was a Plusle. A big muscle-bound person using a Plusle. That seems a little bit weird, but I'm not one to judge. So let's go and get Plusle back. I mean, you know, there is Roughneck Kirby back in the 4th gen games who had a Cleffa. Yeah, he may look like a clown, but that guy is pretty serious. So let's check out that suspiciously shining object. We found an iron file. What the heck is an iron file? It's iron file H. Let's read it. Hyper mode. Okay, so this is explaining hyper mode. So it's stuff that I've already explained before. Yes, because that's definitely a major drawback. A really major drawback. Unfortunately, we can't go through this door yet. It only opens from the other side. So here we are in the Pyrite Bldg, which is actually what it's called. This is our, effectively, first dungeon of this game. I probably should go back and heal, but past me was kind of dumb and started to use potions. Guess just to prepare myself for this next fight. As you can see, there is a healing machine in here, and it's available pretty early into the dungeon. I probably don't need to use any more healing items, but okay, I guess past me took the hint. There are a couple of trainers between us and the healing machine. And we actually have our first instance of trainers who behave like they do in the main series games. Well, they don't get an exclamation mark above their head, but still, they see you and they walk up to you and battle you. So, this lady has a Phanpy and a Trapinch. Again, Trapinch is surprisingly strong for an unevolved Pokemon, so I want to take that thing out quickly. Now, I think you can sneak by her without being seen, but we're going to have to deal with her later in the game anyway, so I might as well get this out of the way now. Although, these trainers, all the trainers in here, I believe, can be rematched. Although I don't think they have the noticing ability the second time. I think you have to outright talk to them to get the rematches. But anyway, let's damage this Trapinch a bit. It is super slow, so it's probably going to be going last. 50 base attack is probably not going to KO. And, okay, the video just went a little bit weird there, I guess. But Trapinch is down. Like I said, I like to get that thing out of the way quickly. And Phanpy is being completely ineffectual. And I know this trainer has no more Pokemon, because if she did, she'd be sending one out now, thanks to 3rd gen switching mechanics. So, this is not a particularly difficult battle, but get used to battles. There are going to be a lot of battles in this place. This is probably going to be a fairly long part. This place is full of trainers. Very few of them are actually Cypher members, bizarrely enough. Well, maybe these guys are future Cypher recruits that haven't received their uniforms yet. Phanpy is still being completely ineffectual. Otisluth normally cancels out any evasion bonuses the target may have, and it also lets ghost types be hit by normal moves. And fighting, I think? I'm pretty sure it lets them get hit by fighting. I know Foresight lets them get hit by fighting. Phanpy's fanning animation is really depressing. But yeah, Foresight is useless if neither of those conditions are in play. Well, I mean, Otisluth is pretty much the same as Foresight, but yeah. Oh, okay, well, might as well cut this entire battle out then, because it didn't happen. Nah, I'm not doing that, probably because it would be kind of a nightmare to edit. Huh, this elevator is off limits, you say? That's suspicious. I think I might switch one of my Pokemon around at this point, or I'm just checking knockdown status. Skiploom is already well on the way to purification. That's actually pretty decent. Okay, yeah, I'm just pointing out that Skiploom gained Cotton Spore, which isn't really that useful of a move. I'm pretty sure in a later generation, Cotton Spore got buffed to hit both opponents. But anyway, an elevator to the basement, but it's locked. And let's unlock it with this iron file. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. Also, the vending machine is out of order, so no cheap healing for us. In this gen, fresh water is probably... I'm pretty sure this is one of those generations where fresh water is the most cost-efficient healing item in existence. But anyway, Rollerboy Pike. A name that I kind of remember, because you tend to fight this guy a lot. Tailo and Hoodoo. Yeah, the trainers here aren't all that threatening, although their levels are getting quite a bit higher, but, you know, levels this high on unevolved Pokemon, not exactly the best. Still not really going to help that much. It's like all those trainers in Kanto in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or the ones in Eastern and Nova in Black and White, and not Black and White 2, but just the original Black and White. They have things that are in the level 60s, but they're things like Weedle. And a level 60 Weedle is still a Weedle. Was that a one-shot? No, it was not, okay. So Furret is actually kind of strong for this point in the game. Noctowl's also hitting a lot harder than I'd expect, but Furret will drop off quite quickly. Okay, Focus Energy. Not exactly the best move to be using. I'll need to look up exactly, and that was a critical hit. Yeah, that's a good sign. I'll need to look up exactly how the critical hit ratio is, but I know that it was buffed, and I know that using a certain combination of critical hit ratio boosts in Generation 6 and on, you can have a 100% crit rate. I'll have to look up exactly how much Focus Energy raised the critical hit levels by. If I see a Hoodoo again, I'll talk about a certain bit of trivia about it in this game, mainly how its model works. It's kind of a nice touch if you know its Pokédex descriptions. But anyway, Tailo is gone, and I know this guy only has 2 Pokemon as well, so he has been beaten. And no experience gain, because I'm using just Shadow Pokemon. So, something that I haven't mentioned yet about how Shadow Pokemon work. You've probably noticed by now, but Shadow Pokemon don't get experience and level up. Or do they? So, Shadow Pokemon actually do, and also, yeah, we've reached the healing machine, there's also a PC to save. But yeah, Shadow Pokemon, once they've reached a certain point in their heart gauge, do actually start to gain experience. But the experience is, let's just say it's saved for later. So, don't worry, fighting with a Shadow Pokemon is beneficial, but we won't be getting the experience benefits until later on. Now, I actually know that Yanma doesn't have Speed Boost, because if it did, I would have seen it activate during that battle. Oh, and I have Runaway on Forest. Yeah, that's great. Great ability! You know what I always wish that they buff Runaway in this way? I wish they let Runaway work. Okay, no, let me just phrase that better. I wish they made it so Runaway lets you escape from trapping abilities and trapping moves. That would actually give it a use in trainer battles. And it would still make sense in a way. So, yeah, I wish they did that for Runaway. It would make it much more useful. But anyway, I'm gonna finally use Flaffy. Yeah, I guess at the time I didn't really think that much about Flaffy and Ampharos. Its Mega definitely gave me a new appreciation for it. Let's see who else I end up using. Oh, for some reason I'm depositing Knockdown. You have more of a heart gauge to go than Skiploom. If I was me, I'd probably be depositing Skiploom, even though Skiploom's being a little bit more useful. So, here was my first attempt against Cypher P on Nor, and as you can probably tell, it didn't go very well. This one tends to be one of the hardest Shadow Pokemon for me to snag. I know I missed this in my first playthrough, and I failed at least once here. Now, something that I'm curious about is, I wonder if the Yanma actually had Speed Boost in this attempt. Let's see if it did or not. Of course, Shadow Pokemon is the Yanma, which is basically just Dragonfly in Japanese. And its Japanese name is actually Yanma, so its Japanese name is not actually Dragonfly. I still find it kind of funny how they reversed its evolution's name in English. It's Mega Yanma in Japanese and Yan Mega in English. But anyway. Once again, the exact same things happened. Let's see if it had Speed Boost or not. No, it didn't. Okay, wow, I didn't get Speed Boost 2 times out of 2. That's kind of a shame. Speed Boost is a cool ability, but Compound Eyes is not bad either. Compound Eyes Supersonic is kind of an interesting combo. Okay, let's see what disaster ends up happening. Did I double target it again and pay the price? Huh, Yanma got a critical on that second attack again. I guess maybe the RNG is kind of similar. Except actually it's not similar, because I got a critical hit there and I didn't before. So I knocked out Yanma, and of course that means restarting. It's going to be a running theme, critical hits. Yeah. Okay, time to continue our trek through the Pyrite Bldg. Which, yeah, is what this place is actually officially called. BLG or something like that. I know it's supposed to be building, but I find it funny to, to say that. I'm still not entirely sure why I'm using Skiploom here, but I guess I end up purifying it pretty soon. So, up to the second floor, and there's a trainer there, but first let's check around here. Doesn't look like there's anything. We can see a little Pokeball-shaped something over there, and that elevator is just basically the tube that an elevator goes down, and not actually the doors of the elevator. Okay, I think I decide to switch in a Shadow Pokemon, but I need to purify a little bit more. So yeah, these trainers are, once again challenging us on site. Bandana Guy Geets. Yeah, everyone's names in this place are ones that just really stick out in my mind. I think I use this place for grinding a lot in my early playthroughs, but wow, a Larvitar. I used to call it Lavatar. But yeah, Larvitar, that's a surprisingly rare Pokemon, and unfortunately it's not a Shadow Pokemon. We're actually not going to be seeing any other Shadow Pokemon here until we reach the roof. Okay, you have 3 Pokemon, one of which is a Kavana, so it will probably go down in a single hit. I am not sure why I would have gone for the more powerful Shadow Rush and Kavana just to ensure the KO, but anyway. Or maybe I just realized that Kavana's defenses are so pathetic that even a Shadow Rush from Skiploom is probably going to one-shot it. Well, we'll see if it one-shots. Well, Flaffy, not Skiploom. Flaffy's Shadow Rush animation is pretty funny, and that wasn't a one-shot. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. And double recoil, thanks to rough skin. Okay, I think I get what your gimmick is. Focus energy. Good thing you aren't a Gen 1 trainer. I mean, even without the glitch, focus energy in this generation is still pretty bad. But there goes Larvitar. Let's see what his next Pokemon is. I'd really like a Shadow Larvitar. It's a cool Pokemon. Barboach. Well, if I had Mega Drain on Skiploom, it'd be useful here. Thrash is actually a pretty strong move at this point, though I think Thrash is only 90 power in this gen, not 120. I mean, I know it's not 120, I'm just forgetting whether it's like 90 or 95. I'm pretty sure the... Well, I wouldn't call them Rage moves, because there is an actual move called Rage. The Rampage moves were all around 90 power in this gen, rather than 120. They all got buffed pretty severely later on. Also, I should mention that in double battles, Rampage moves like Thrash and Outrage target a random opponents, so... Okay, I guess this guy's another gimmick. A lot of his Pokemon have Thrash. Couldn't KO even with a crit. That doesn't bode well for you. But yeah, they're not exactly the best moves to be using in doubles, especially ones like Thrash, which have type immunities. Okay, that thing just barely survived. I would say Outrage also has type immunities, but not in this generation. Fairy didn't exist for a long time yet. Yeah, okay, didn't switch out for it. I may have to go back and heal right after this battle. That's going to be a recurring theme in this video. I'm going to need to return to the first floor to heal a lot. Don't be afraid to do that. The healing machine is free. It's for you to use. Use it as much as you need. This place is really not that bad if you go and heal a lot. And I now get what his dialogue means. He's using a lot of Rampage moves. That's why he wants to go wild. I seem to vaguely recall that in rematches he gains a Pokemon with Petal Dance, although don't quote me on that. I guess we can afford to go through a few more battles before we run back to heal. Oh, okay, this guy's also talking about his gimmick. I remember this guy too. And this guy's name is probably based on the term gear. Yep, I know this guy's gimmick. Yeah, I've already guessed what it is. It's kind of nice how they have hints to it in their dialogue. Anyway, that Magnemite is probably not going to be... Okay, I actually have a feeling what it's going to be using with Lock-On. There's one of two moves it's probably going to be abusing with Lock-On. Remoraid has the Hustle ability, which means that its physical moves, which are Side Beam, obviously, are going to be boosted in power by 1.5 times, but having their accuracy reduced by 20%. So, Lock-On helps it in that regard, but... doesn't seem like he's going to be using Lock-On at this point. Okay, that missed. Yeah, that's what I had a feeling that Magnemite would use. It'd use Supersonic with Lock-On, because Supersonic only has 55 accuracy normally. Except neither of them are wanting to use Lock-On. Okay, let's get Quackle Sphere. I promised I wouldn't do that, but it's still fun. Let's get you out of Hyper Mode. Side Beam again. Not even wanting to go for the Lock-On. I doubt that Remoraid even has any physical moves to use with Lock-On. I probably should switch Flaffy. Now. Okay, you hit the second time. Good for you. Let's see if my Quagsire is as lucky as Marrowlands when it comes to not hitting itself in confusion. Yeah, that was back in his Platinum playthrough. That Quagsire was just kind of insane at the sheer amounts of luck that it got. Anyway. You can tell that I don't really have that much to say about this battle. Why am I leaving Flaffy in? Am I being cruel and saying, oh, it doesn't matter if you faint, I can just revive you with the healing machine anyway? That's probably what I was thinking, actually. You're going for Flaffy. You are going for... I'm sorry, Flaffy, sorry. Well, just notice my Flaffy is female, which means that I can go and... Well, if I wanted to, I could breed it and get Maripes. Not that that's really useful anymore, but back in the day, that was really useful. Oh, Skiploom's female too, nice. You are kinda psychic. Because that wouldn't have done... Well, I mean, I guess I would have KO'd Maripe anyway, so probably don't want to be too suspicious of the AI being psychic just yet. What do I do here? Yeah, let's just go for more Shadow Rushes. Or not. Yeah, double... Well, actually, let's... Miss with Sleep Powder. Miss with Sleep Powder is good. Wow, Skiploom is also kind of going down. I should probably take care of that Rebel Raid now. And that thing is definitely going forward. Well, I mean... Okay, Skiploom did not do well in this battle. I'm obviously going to need to switch after this. But yeah, it's weird. The AI seems, like, able to avoid hitting ground types with electric moves, but they don't understand ghost immunities. Kind of weird how that works. Well, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's use the tried and true Pokemon here. Yeah, my Quagsire is definitely not as lucky as Slippers. I should probably just Confusion that thing. Of course, the joys of having a typeless move means that Magnemite being Steel type is gonna still take neutral damage from Shadow Rush. I think, and I didn't realize this for a while, but Magnemite's entire evolution family has the most amount of resistances of any Pokemon. At one point, I thought that was Empoleon, but I'm not sure if that was ever true. You kind of forget about Magnemite's good resistances when it's weak to common things like fighting and especially ground, but turns out that it actually has a lot of them. Okay, that's good. Oh, please don't hurt yourself. Yeah, I had a feeling that I laughed a bit when I was doing the, when I was recording this live, because... that's always annoying when that happens. Don't hurt yourself in Confusion, but you do go into Hyper Mode. Gets even worse later when we start seeing opponents who use, Confusion Attract on us. Yeah. Hey, I didn't hurt myself in Confusion. Hey, I didn't get immobilized by Love. I went into Hyper Mode anyway. Trust me, that will probably happen eventually. And now everybody's confused. Joy, this is probably going to take a while because I'm most likely going to double hurt myself, aren't I? Yeah, well, that's one hurt myself. I'm well on my way there. Sonic Boom is the other move that I thought Magnemite would be using with Lock-On, since Sonic Boom, I think, only has 80 accuracy. Well, I was about to say, yeah, you snapped out of and then you went into Hyper Mode anyway. Of course you did. If only calling cured Confusion. Okay, finally. That took way too long. I'm gonna need to go back and heal. Yeah, aren't you glad that Confusion was nerfed in Gen 7? Although the hilarious thing is that when I first played Pokemon Moon... That's quite a funny defeat line. When I first played Pokemon Moon, I was so unlucky that I went through the whole game not realizing Confusion had been nerfed. Imagining that guy with a robotic voice now. Anyway, though, I'm going to show just the first instance of going back down to heal just because it's not that far, but from now on, I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting in these videos because I go back to heal here a lot. There are quite a few trainers in this place. Alright, let's just check if I want to keep purifying Flaffy, definitely. I don't think she's quite reached the first stage of the heart gauge yet, and I really like Thunder Wave. Well, don't think I actually use it very much in this playthrough, but Thunder Wave is a pretty nice move. Okay, there's a guy over there, but... Okay, there's a guy in there. But, if we remember right, this chair, I think, is blocking the way to that thing over there. So, we have to go... Ugh! This guy has creepy dialogue. We have to go through this guy first. Bandana Guy Loba. Yeah, many of the Colosseum trainer names, it feels like people just glued some dictionaries to the wall and threw darts at... Well, no. And threw darts at them and just picked the random letters that the darts hit. Some of them are actually puns, though. Anyway, okay, Quagsire's unlocked Amnesia now, and it's facing its pre-evolved form here. And Flaffy is sadly not unlocked Thunder Wave yet. And sadly, as much as I would love to zap this Wingull, I am unable to because it... Of course, Hyper Mode. Am I going to need a double Hyper Mode? No, okay, that's good. But, yeah. I can't because I have to get the heart gauge all the way to the very end for Flaffy to learn Thunder Shock. Well, remember Thunder Shock. Don't think anything really explains why opposing trainers, when they're using Shadow Pokemon, they have access to all 4 moves, whereas we don't, obviously. Okay, you respond to calling quite favorably. I now have Thunder Wave, which is good. Alright, I guess this trainer's gimmick is spamming status moves that affect both of us, and that's not good because Shadow Rush is physical, so... You know, I don't know if they could program it this way. It'd be kind of cool if Shadow Rush used whichever of your attacking stats was the highest for what type of move it was, but again, I don't know if they'd really be able to program it that way. Of course. Well, at least that's going to let me purify Flaffy a bit more. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but actually, no, I don't think so. I was thinking for a moment that maybe Hyper Mode is less likely the more of a Pokemon's heart gauge is open, but I actually don't think that's true. But who knows, I could be wrong. We don't really need this Pokemon name here. It's in Hyper Mode thing. It's kind of a bit of a redundant message. It's like how they got rid of Rain Continues to Fall eventually, because the animation just already illustrated that. Wooper has some pretty nice animations, though. Unfortunately, this Wooper is not going to last much longer. Wooper also has a cry that, I don't know, I just kind of like. Speaking of cries, yeah, back here, every Pokemon still used their original Game Boy cries. Of course! Yeah, this is one of the downsides of using a Shadow Pokemon. Expect to have battles prolonged by random Hyper Modes a lot. But, yeah. Clogsire is in Hyper Mode. What was I saying again? Oh yeah, about the Game Boy cries. I remember back in the day, reviewers used to... Yeah, get used to this. But yeah, reviewers used to really slam all of the 3D Pokemon games for saying Pokemon should say their names like in the anime, which was a concept that I always hated because I never felt that was particularly canon to the games, even though sometimes it is. As you could tell earlier on in this game, I didn't notice this when I was first doing my post-commentary, but the Oddish back in the Really? The Oddish back in the pre-gym said, like, Nazon or something, and that's part of its Japanese name. Oddish's Japanese name is Nazo no Kusa, which is literally mysterious gruff. Yeah. You know, if one of you would actually attack now, that'd be good. That'd be really good. Any day now. Any day now. Oh well, at least this got Flaffy's heart gauge up a lot. That is the benefit from going to Hyper Mode. Thank you, finally! Ugh. Yeah. Hyper Mode can be really irritating like this. Probably should have left one of my Pokemon in Hyper Mode and just gone for crit Shadow Rushes, though. But, well, you know, the past is the past. We can't really change it. Yeah, that'll teach you to refer to my Pokemon as prey. Please go away. Well, serves you right. So this thing right here, this is actually an item chest. We get 5 Great Balls. And let's see, do I saw around my Pokemon, or do I... Okay, I know that my Flaffy has a mild nature now. Wait a minute, mild is, I think, plus special attack minus special defense? Wait a minute. No, quiet is plus special attack minus speed. I know that because I breed a lot of Trick Room Pokemon. But mild, I think, is plus special attack minus special defense? Pretty sure that's what it is. Some of the natures I haven't quite memorized, but definitely know that it's not minus speed, because that is quiet. I know that I got a mild Mewtwo in one of my games, which is actually not bad. Oh, hey, a bodybuilder who's actually battling us. Well, that's an interesting line. Litwick didn't exist at this point, so can't make any Litwick jokes. Ackman. It's kind of a weird name. But, yeah, he's using... For someone who mentioned bug Pokemon being drawn to a candle, he's using neither bug nor fire types. That's surprising. He's using entirely electric types. I think I remember what this guy's gimmick was. I think he likes to use charge. Not all trainers have a gimmick, or his gimmick could be quick attack. I'm not sure, because I think Voltorb learns quick attack. I'm not entirely sure. Well, I mean, that thing is using charge. Something to mention here is that charge doesn't... Hyper Mode again. Charge doesn't raise your special defense in this game. It's kind of weird. They gave it a buff to do something other than doubling the power of your next electric move, but it still was a pretty bad move that nobody ever used, even after that, which is kind of sad. Okay, Farrah, do you respond favorably to calling? Kind of. Forward has a heart gauge of 5,000, so it's going to take longer to purify than the others. Yay! Waste your charge on a move that not only is an electric type, but does fixed damage anyway. Sonic Boom is never a particularly good move. Much like the Sonic game. But, except in Little Cup. Huh. Not sure I can really make any joke about the Sonic Boom game about Little Cup, but yeah. Sonic Boom is, in fact, so good in Little Cup that it's outright banned in the standard Little Cup rule set. That and Dragon Rage, because Dragon Rage is even more broken in Little Cup. Little Cup is where you use Pokemon at level 5 and have to be the lowest stage of an evolution chain. And the official games know how broken Scyther is in Little Cup, because there's a Little Cup, like, series in Battle Revolution, I believe, and the leader of it does use Scyther. Metatite is also stupidly broken in Little Cup. More Hyper Mode. Not really commenting on this point because you've seen it before. I've never really done Little Cup myself, mainly because the EV spreads that you have to do for it are kind of insane. Also, the amount of effort you have to do to get level up moves on newly hatched Pokemon is also kind of ridiculous. You know, I think back in Generation 3, due to the different way that effort values worked, it was impossible to have Little Cup Pokemon EV trained at all without vitamins. Because you'd only, like, have your effort values apply when you leveled up, and Little Cup Pokemon had to be level 5, and eggs hatch at level 5, so you couldn't level them up. So, yeah, you pretty much have to use vitamins in Gen 3 Little Cup. Which, to be honest, you don't really need much more than that, because the amount of effect that EVs have at level 5 is so tiny that you rarely need more than the amount that the max amount of vitamins will give you. So let's see what I did here. I think I went back to heal. Okay, now that I'm healed, let's move on to the next floor, where more battles await us, obviously. We've got another rider up here. What am I doing? I have no idea what I was doing there. So let's check who I've got out in the front. Is this the right lead here? Not fully sure, but... yeah, I want to purify Quagsire a little bit more. Definitely get Surf as soon as possible. You know what's funny? I never really understood back in the day what rider meant for these trainer classes. Were they motorcycle riders? Do they ride Pokemon? I never really knew. They all look like cowboys, so back in the day I kind of thought they ride Pokemon. But anyway. Now I think about it, riding a Doduo would be pretty awesome. Another thing, speaking of back in the day, I always used to consider Doduo an emu Pokemon because, you know, I'm Australian and, thought of it that way. It probably wasn't designed like that, though. It's also kind of funny that it can learn Fly. Anyway, Doduo was available in, you're gonna hit 5 times, aren't you? Yes, you are! Of course you are. But yeah, Doduo was available in, Ruby and Sapphire. And, okay, I get your gimmick now. You use multi-hit moves. Hey, the maximum number of hits and the minimum number of hits. But another Hyper Mode. Am I gonna get another Hyper Mode on, I probably am, aren't I? Of course I am! Yeah, I called it! It's getting pretty common at this point. Now, Pursuit is an interesting move in Generation 3. I also liked how what the animation looks like. It shoots this little orb that hits them and then returns. It's like a chasing orb. But, okay, good. I'm glad that missed. You know, I probably should have left some of my Pokemon in Hyper Mode at this point. But anyway, so... Pursuits. Pursuit, being a Dark-type move, is special in Generation 3, which meant that it was a lot less popular. And it also was a lot less dangerous, because the majority of Pokemon that were weak to it were primarily physically frail, rather than specially frail. So, it was not as popular of a move. The only Pokemon that really liked Pursuit back then were Tyranitar and Houndoom, I think. Then when Pursuit became physical, things got a lot more interesting. And it also became a lot more terrifying for frail Psychic and Ghost types like Gengar and Alakazam, because they got pretty badly wrecked by Pursuit. Okay, Forward has unlocked Helping Hand now, which actually might be a useful move to use at some points. Oh, I think I was debating whether or not to use it here, but let's just go ahead and use Shadow Rush. Yeah, it really says something about Ladybug when a Forward does that much damage to you. Okay, thank you for missing again. Oh, look, it's Astonish. Oh, look, it's a type immunity. The AI... See, it's... Again, the AI knows about electric not affecting ground types. Which is... This, can't really be said for the Pokemon anime, but anyway. But it doesn't know about the other type immunities for some reason. Of course you would. Am I gonna get double hyper mode? Maybe we should start a doesn't affect Furret counter. Though it won't last long, because I think I dropped Furret fairly early. But still. Yeah, the AI in Gen 3, as I've said many times before, is kind of dumb. Although, admittedly, Pokemon never really had good AI until very late. I mean, even battle facilities, until Generation 4, they would very easily fall for the old trick choice item, trick, no pun intended. But yeah, back in battle facilities in Gen 4, I used to have an Uxie with Memento and Trick. I'd trick a Choice Scarf onto something that used a non-attacking move, and then I'd use Memento. I'd switch into, I think it was either a Tyranitar or a Dragonite that had substituted Dragon Dance, and then just go to town on everything. That was pretty much how I did things. Then the AI got wise to that in Gen 5. They learned how to switch out after they'd been tricked into a choice item. But then there was a new trick on the block, Truant Durant, and I think to this day the AI still does not know how to handle that. Truant Entrainment Durant. So Quagsire's gained Slam now, which is, at this point, I think it's actually completely... Yeah, it is completely inferior to Shadow Rush. That's worse power, worse accuracy, and worse type effectiveness. So there's literally no reason to use that over Shadow Rush, which is kind of sad. Yeah, at this point I figured I might as well use a healing item rather than going back to the healing machine. Oh no. Can't see the word Trooper and not think of a certain Let's Player ever again. Yeah. A surprisingly large number of people in this game use the term Trooper too. He must have hated that. Well, Quagsire is definitely coming along, no thanks to all those hyper modes. And we've got Ice types now. Wonder if they're going to be spamming Icy Wind on us, which is actually not a bad strategy in double battles. Okay, that'll at least get me another bar. And you're using Bite. I always found Snorunt to be a very weird Pokemon. I mean, what exactly is it based on? It's like an arrowhead that... Well, I mean, I guess it's also probably based on a Parker, but... It's an Ice-type arrowhead thing that evolves into an Ice-type hockey mask? I still... Okay, admittedly, I really like Glalie Japanese name. It's Ornigordi, which has actually multiple puns to it. It's obviously a pun on Onigiri, or rice balls, as, they were called exactly, I think, once in the anime early on. Then they were always called donuts, but anyway. So yeah, it's on Onigiri, which is ice balls, but also Oni, which is demon, and Gori, which is goalie. So it's like a triple... I normally don't like puns, but I actually really thought that name was pretty clever. Unfortunately, wouldn't really work that well in English. Powder Snow is a move that hits both Pokemon, but it's still pretty weak, and I think it's one of the few Ice-type moves at this point in the series that couldn't freeze. Or can it freeze? Am I forgetting it? That it could? I had the feeling that it couldn't freeze. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure Powder Snow couldn't freeze. If I am wrong, this could prove me wrong right now by freezing one of my Pokemon, but I doubt it. Hyper mode again, of course. Yeah, this guy just spams Powder Snow. Would be more effective in a double battle environment to spam Icy Wind. That at least drops speed. Yeah, Icy Wind was a much better move than I gave it credit for, earlier on. It's a really good move in doubles, although sadly the tutor for Icy Wind tends to go in and out of limbo as new games get released. It's usually only available as a move tutor move, which is usually only accessible in the second version of a game that comes out. I wonder what new move tutor moves will be in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Of course, if you're watching this after those games are released, you probably already know. I am kind of annoyed when it comes to move tutor moves that they just keep reusing the same ones they've kind of always used. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There are some pretty good move tutor moves among that pool. Things like Superpower and, Well, I mean, I guess Stealth Rock. What else? Tailwind, Heal Bell, Icy Wind, Elemental Punches. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Those are all good moves to have as tutors. But I'd kind of like to see some newer tutor moves. I remember back when... okay, you actually do have Icy Wind. That's surprising. I didn't think you would. But yeah, this is Icy Wind. Drops the speed of both opponents in a double battle, which is actually amazingly useful. Especially now there was no Trick Room. Okay, I'm kind of okay with that, because if I call you, you get Surf. This battle again is... I mean, the battle's in... I was proved wrong. Powder Snow can freeze. Nice to know. I actually like how they handled freeze in this game. The Pokemon just freezes in their animation, just completely solid. I mean, the stadium looked cool too when they were in a giant block of ice, but I kind of like how freeze works in Colosseum. Quagsire shouldn't really be able to respond to this. Well, I mean, I guess it can probably still hear, even if its body can't move. But yeah, I was instantly proven wrong. Powder Snow can freeze. I should probably switch Flaffy out now. I may not get a chance to. Thank you for that! Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Gen 3 AI. Or I can just heal. And yeah, I can... See, here's the good thing about double battles, is that you can always use up the turn of a Pokemon that wouldn't be able to move anyway on using an item. So the Pokemon doesn't even flinch when they're frozen. This is why I think it's pretty hilarious. Wow, Flaffy is just really, really crazily Snorunt. I accidentally said that because of seeing the move Powder Snow. I was not accidentally making an ice pun. I am totally not turning into a certain ice-themed villain who's infamous for that. Anyway, what was I? Oh yeah, tutor moves. So, back when Heart Gold and Soul Silver, just before they were originally released, and I just remembered the Quagsire is frozen, so I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that won't work. I should probably heal it or switch it out. But anyway, back when Heart Gold and Soul Silver were first released, let's not get interrupted this time, there were rumors of an Aqua Jet move tutor. I remember that pretty clearly, but it didn't come to pass. Probably a good thing, because more Pokemon with access to priority would have been kind of painful. Okay, turns out I didn't switch out Quagsire. Oh. Okay, so you have at least 2 ice moves. Oh, wow, nice snipe there. And Quagsire is completely unaware of being fainted thanks to being frozen. So this battle went downhill pretty quickly. Once again, Espeon has to come to clean up the mess. I should probably use Espeon and Umbreon a little bit more, because they're falling behind quite badly in levels. It's always an issue when you use a lot of Shadow Pokemon like this. Your Pokemon that actually gain experience, well, don't gain experience. And now let's just eliminate this Spheal. This guy only had 2 Pokemon. Wow, I took a long time to take out a trainer with only 2 Pokemon. But yeah, that was no thanks to getting frozen. Also, Spheal is surprisingly large. Okay, will Flaffy faint in this battle? Let's Hyper Mode again. Question is, do I keep it in to call it, or do I switch out? Unfortunately, I think the move that I unlock here is Cotton Spore, which, yeah. So, I should just say something, because of the way that Shadow Pokemon have to gradually unlock more of their movesets, battles in Colosseum, I guess they do get kind of boring earlier in the game, because all you have access to is just Shadow Rush, but you get access to more strategic options as your Pokemon's heart gauges fill up more. Yeah, that's probably what I should be asking. How did that happen? I performed pretty terribly in that battle. I'm quite ashamed of myself. Actually, I'm forced to admit that. You gave me quite a bit of trouble. I should probably go back and heal. I think Past Me decided that too. Yep, he's going back to heal. Okay, back here. I think we're almost done with this place. Let's check out what else is in here. Doesn't look like there's much. Anything to read in these books? Apparently difficult books. We can't tell if they're difficult or not. We just have other people's word to go on, I guess? Okay, I think that's a chaser. Anyway, I like the way that they handled the items here. In the main series games, they look like Pokeballs, but they made them Pokeball-shaped chests here, which, like I said, I think is pretty cool. Okay, I might have been mistaking the Petal Dance for this lady, because she has a lot of Pokemon that use dance moves. Considering that's a Horsey, it's probably got Dragon Dance, which is kind of an interesting choice. Kingdra is a Pokemon that was kind of interesting. Like, I remember back in Generation 3, Kingdra was considered fairly mediocre because it had great stats, but it just didn't really have the moves to use them. And its typing was, well, both special. But once Gen 4 hit and it got access to not only the physical special split, but also a much bigger move pool, it got access to things like Draco Meteor and Outrage, and now Physical Outrage, and a more buffed Outrage, Kingdra suddenly became very, very good. And yeah, he's using Dragon Dance. So just kind of interesting what a move pool does for Pokemon. And yeah, you are using Petal Dance. I should keep Quagsire away from that. That's going to hurt him very, very badly. Thankfully, I don't have Quagsire out in the field at this point. As of recording this, I've been marathoning a lot of the, how good was X Pokemon really? The history of certain Pokemon in competitive videos. That is actually a pretty good channel. They do a lot of good research. But actually, I would kind of like to see one for Kingdra, because Kingdra I remember being pretty bad originally, but then becoming insanely good. It was overlooked at first in favor of things like Salamence, but then when Salamence got banned by Smogon, Kingdra suddenly resurged quite a bit. And Latias as well, being banned. But, right, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the video on Moltres was interesting, because Moltres went from a Pokemon with a completely horrendous move pool. Back in Gen 1, Moltres was forced to run both Double Edge and Hyper Beam on the same moveset, and Reflect. That's how bad its move pool was. And then in later generations, Moltres suddenly got a lot of good moves, like Hurricane, better fire moves, things like even Extra Sensory in XD, Roost, Will-O-Wisp. Moltres suddenly didn't have its original problem anymore. Also, nice survival there, Flaffy. And nice paralysis, Flaffy. And Oddish is now unintentionally parafused. I should probably switch Flaffy out now. Yeah, thank you, past me, for not being stupid. Probably shouldn't send in Quagsire. And Furret will just finish off that Oddish, I guess. You know what really says something? I've completely forgotten what her first Pokemon was. I know one of her Pokemon's fainted thanks to the Pokeball icons, but I've completely forgotten what it was by now. I was too sidetracked by talking about other stuff. Anyway, Horsey's down. Now we'll just need to eliminate that Oddish. Oh, she hasn't even used her other Pokemon yet. Okay, wait, no, yeah, the black Pokeball icon was the status, that's why. That's why I got confused. But yeah, that Oddish is unlikely to be doing much anytime soon. And so she's got a Sandshrew. That was probably horrible, but just, it always stuck in my mind the way that that person from the anime said Sandshrew. What am I doing? I think Past Me had a plan here, but I don't know what his plan was. What non-attacking move would that Sandshrew possibly... Oh, okay, I think I was anticipating Swords Dance. Now I know. Okay, Sandshrew, come on, use Swords Dance, because I think that's the only dance move that Sandshrew has access to. Yes, yes, nice one. Past Me actually did a pretty nice plan. Yeah, so I figured out from this trainer's theme that she would have access to... Not exactly have access to, but I mean more that the Sandshrew would have Swords Dance, and I'm using Secret Power, obviously, because that's physical and will benefit from Swords Dance. But that was kind of a nice move. I'm kind of proud of Past Me for thinking of that. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure Swords Dance is the only dance move that Sandshrew has access. Wow. Well, we found the location that causes paralysis from Secret Power. That's normally the standard effective Secret Power. Usually in building it's paralysis. And in any generic multiplayer arena, it's also paralysis. I feel like Bite may even do more damage. Yeah, even with the Swords Dance boost, Umbreon is not hitting that hard. But hey, it looked kind of impressive, stealing that Swords Dance. Like I said, Snatch is very situational, and yeah, Bite I think did equal or more damage. It was probably thanks to Sandshrews' decent defense stat that happened too. But yeah, Snatch, very situational. That quote is hilariously wrong if you know how good Dragon Dance can be. Or Swords Dance for that matter. Really, some of the best moves in all of Pokemon are dance moves, so I don't know why she said that. Okay, there's another trainer in there, but do I go back to heal or not? I've got 2 severely weakened Pokemon. Do I go back to heal, or do I just cave and use items? I probably need to go back and buy some items soon. Yeah, I don't think I really need much more in the way of healing. And this is kind of interesting. So, yeah, there are female bodybuilders in this game. I kind of like that. Anyway, she has a Cacnea and a Tentacool, and it doesn't look like her dialogue indicated any particular theme that she has to her battling style, so I'm not sure. And wow, see, Corksire has almost been fully purified just from this place alone. In fact, Corksire, I think, pretty much is fully purified at this point. Don't really know what I should be doing here. So as you can see, the more battles you go through with Shadow Pokemon, the more their heart gauges fill. They tend to fill pretty quickly as you're going through the battles in this game. Here's Acid. Now, in Generation 3, Acid had a chance of lowering defense instead of special defense, and I always felt that made more sense too, because, you know, Acid corroding a Pokemon's armor. Or, in Furret's case, fur and skin. Yeah, let's not think about that. But, yeah, it always made more sense. I know from a gameplay standpoint, it makes more sense for it to lower special defense now, because it's a special move. But still. Okay, I think I see the Shredder's theme now. Her theme is being absolutely and utterly a non-threat. I probably... Yeah, I really should have sent out Espeon, but... Okay, yeah, you now have Mega Drain. Which might be a bad thing against this Tentacool, depending on whether or not it has Liquid Ooze. I'm still just using these 2 against this thing. Oh well. I kind of wish I'd given Espeon a bit more experience, but that's fine. And yay! Speaking of being a complete and total non-threat, welcome, Constrict, the worst damaging move in all of Pokemon. And it still is, I'm pretty sure. 10 power, only saving grace being a 10% chance of dropping speed. Normal type, so it's not super effective against anything, and ghosts are immune to it. Yeah, Constrict is hands down the absolute worst damaging move in all of Pokemon. At this point, it's 1/4 of Tackle. It's half of Bubble. 2 moves that were both pretty bad. And moves that you tend to get rid of as soon as possible. Now, these stairs here, I believe, lead to the roof. We're done with this main building, so I think I'll be ending this part now, because there are some pretty significant battles coming up on the rooftop, and I want to save in preparation for those. So, for now, as I end out this episode, I might as well show just the sheer annoyance that is walking all the way back down to the healing machine. This is what I had to deal with a few times in this part. But yeah, now that's done. We've cleared out the entire Pyrite Bldg. And next time, we'll be checking out the Pyrite building's roof. And, like I said, having some fairly significant battles. So, I'll see you then. Just as soon as I save. Or maybe I didn't actually save. Bold Nature, that's minus attack. That's, not exactly that amazing. But it'll do, I guess.